Well, after a summer so weird we had to spread it over 2 videos, we finally reached the start of the new Premier League season. I think we're a better team than we were this time last year, but there's only one way to find out. Hello and welcome to part 133 of It's Coming Home. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our first 2 games of the new Premier League season. We're away against Bournemouth and at home against Manchester City. Since you were last with me, I'm not even going to go there. Watch the last 2 videos. We've spent a lot of money, made a lot of money, and Europe happened. It was a full European campaign. But we're getting off with the start of the new Premier League season, and this is the team we're putting out there to do it. And I think it does look like a strong team. We've got Saidi in goal, a back four of Pagano, Sands, Van der Horst and Riviere, Herrero in midfield, Bishop and Curti ahead of him, and then Manu behind Presedo and Adrio. Let's get into this and hopefully start the new season off with a bang. This is our first game of the season. We haven't played any other competitive games that we're aware of. So this is good. Right, team talk. Apparently we're underdogs away against Bournemouth. I guess that makes sense. Bournemouth are a much more established Premier League team than we are. Although we did win the League Cup last year and get to the FA Cup. So actually we didn't. We won the League Cup last year and that was the only cup we played in last year. Right, Bournemouth are in behind almost immediately and Saidi makes the save. And we are looking for a big year from him. It's a club record transfer, over £50 million for a goalkeeper. I'd like to think he's our forever keeper. He's 21 years old, he's a wonder kid. I'd like to think he'll still be our goalkeeper when we're winning the Champions League in 8 years' time or whenever it might be. And then the £50 million will be justified. However, he is only 21 and that was awful. That was just awful. So, imagine what else we could have spent that money on. We could have just kept Horvat in goal. Oh, that's poor. That's really poor. He's going to be under so much pressure as well as a youngster that we spent so much money on. I hope I've not ruined this football club this summer. Oh, without Sir Anthony Harris here, it just doesn't feel the same. We have still got Sir Mick Powell knocking about the place. He did play in redacted, but he's not on the bench for today's game. But if we keep getting injuries to our strikers, he might have to play at some point, which is a different situation to what we were in last year when we had about 8 strikers. We're 2-0 down. Oh, this is only Bournemouth. We've got to play Manchester City in a minute. Obviously, we've made a lot of new signings. It's going to take a little bit of time for this team to gel. But we can't be losing at Bournemouth. Right, Pagano plays it forward. Adrio trying to chase. We miss having 2 chasing strikers. Presedo wasn't supposed to be a regular starter. He was supposed to be someone who was around the squad offering experience. But with pre-season injuries, he's played every game so far. But that's not even the issue. The issue is we're 3-0 down away against Bournemouth. And I don't think we've signed a dud in the shape of this goalkeeper. But I have watched him concede 7 goals in the last hour. And he doesn't move very much for him, does he? Oh, yikes. Right, I don't even know what to say at half-time here. This has been terrible. Pagano, we need a big team talk and a big second half. And that's just poor from Bishop and Pagano combined, just poor. They were both part of a team that did really rather well in the second half of last season. But they've really both been really poor there. Pagano, ball aimed loosely towards Adrio, but nowhere near. In fact, it was Presedo it was aimed, and oh my goodness. Saidi makes a save, finally. And that's just about the worst half of football we could have hoped for to start the new season. We've got Ollie Steer on the bench, so don't worry. We're about to sell him as well. Perhaps we should keep him around. Right, we've got to be aggressive. Show me something else, because that was awful. Absolutely awful. We are rock bottom of the Premier League as it stands. We've only had 1 shot in that entire half. That's the thing that troubles me most. We've conceded 3 goals before. We've had terrible defensive performances before, but they're usually combined with us giving it a go. To only have 1 shot in 45 minutes of football is not the home way. Bournemouth are not that good a side. We should be better than this. And is he being sent off here? No? Okay, that's all right then. And to think we were the better team in the first leg against Lazio. And for the first 60 minutes against Lazio. It wasn't until I started my tactical tinkering that it all went wrong. So I am a little bit shocked at what's happening today. Because since then, we've only strengthened. We've brought in Herrero, who's a massive improvement in the defensive midfielder position. But for whatever reason, we're a worse team because of it. Oh my word. What is going on? I've now seen us concede 8 goals since we last scored. And it's only been a game and a half. Oh, I don't know what's happening. Right, who's to blame? Pagano's not playing well. We don't have a left back on the bench. Oh, I feel sick. Adrio can come off for Steer. Is that really what it's come to? Manu. Gonzalez can apparently play there. Let's see if he's any good at it. It's better than what I'm doing a triple substitution. Van der Horst can come off as... In fact, no, I'm going to take off Riviere because Riviere is grumpy because he wants to leave. So Lee can go out and play it right back. Just like we played Sands at left back for most of last season, or the first half of last season. Lee might be our right back if Riviere doesn't get his head screwed back on right. Van der Horst with the throw. Gonzalez, there you go. First little look at him. Lee to Curti to Bishop. Gonzalez again. Finds Lee again, cross towards Presedo, who can't get onto the end of it. Presedo's already played too much football in his first 3 games of this season. Sands with a lovely tackle though, and Bishop with the chance to do a Bishop special over the top. But in fact, he plays it like next to him, to Presedo. Perhaps playing with a deep line forward. Perhaps I don't like that. He came far too deep there. I want him to present an option for Bishop to hit one of his lovely passes to. I don't want him there for the little sideways pass. That like nullifies the effect of Bishop. Presedo with the shot from miles out. It's a lovely effort. Does test the keeper, but because it was so out of the blue, there's nobody following it in. And I mean, it was the one high point in a pretty poor performance. In the end, we have had a much better second half than we had first half, but we still haven't really looked like scoring. Bishop back to Herrero. Pagano, and that's that. And we've lost 4-0 on the first day, and it was pathetic. Now we've got to play Manchester City. Oh dear. Oh dear. Little bit of transfer news, last bit of transfer news for a few episodes before we play the Manchester City game. Ollie Steer turned down his move to Zaragoza. I almost accidentally said it Spanish there, getting it right around my mouth. And Peter Turner did go on loan to Nice, but that is it for transfers now. So this is the team for the Manchester City game. A couple of changes from the Bournemouth match. Presedo is away on international duty, so he can't play. Kano is fit enough to come back into the team though, ish. He'll play 75 minutes. Ollie Steer's still here though, so don't worry. Tom Noble also fit enough to now return to the bench. Pagano's picked up a knock though, so Sands is going to play at left back, which means Lee can just come in to play alongside Van der Horst at centre back. And we are keeping a close eye on Riviere because I always worry about having players who are unhappy in the team, but we don't really have much choice because he's the only decent right back that we've got. Interestingly, they're our team leaders now. Presedo, Bishop and Sir Mick Powell, still a team leader after all these years, but we probably need to cheer him up. But the only way to cheer him up is to let him leave, and no one wants to buy him. So let's go play Manchester City and hopefully cheer ourselves up. It's been a miserable half an episode, well, like a full episode, second half of the yesterday's, and then this one. It's been rubbish. We want to win now. Right, let's... I am expecting a much better performance. Yeah, I don't necessarily expect us to win, but I expect us to play a lot better than we did against Bournemouth, because if there's one thing that can be said about us in our first 2 seasons in the Premier League, we haven't always been good enough, but we've rarely got absolutely battered the way we were battered against Bournemouth. And, I mean, it looks like they have won their second game of the season as well, so they are still top of the table. But all the same, we should be better than that against a team like Bournemouth, and hopefully we'll be able to show that today against Manchester City. I'd be happy to come out of this with a draw. I'd be delighted to come out of this with a draw, even though City are a team that we have traditionally done quite well against since we've been in the Premier League. But you know, teams in light blue shirts we've got issues with this season. And they're coming out. It's down this left-hand side. Riviere can't make the tackle. Van der Horst does clear, though, and it's with Bishop. Bishop then makes the clearance. It's actually stayed in, and Adrio's got hold of it. And we've got a sort of accidental counter-attack going on here. It's with Sands on the left-hand side, and we've forced a throw in a dangerous position. Are we getting a penalty review here? We are. We've gone over to the little telly. We didn't get the penalty, though. And that could have been a very, very against the run of play accidental goal if we'd have got that penalty. But 'twas not to be, and we go back to doing what we were doing for most of the first half up until that point, which is sort of competing with City on stats, but not really creating very much. And thankfully, that's also what they're doing, and it's been a bit of a nothing first half. But we'll be happy with another one of them, because that would mean we drew the game. We've been the better team here. Let's see how gullible these lot are. There you go. 4 of them agree with me, which is, I don't know if that means they're gullible or just thick, because obviously we've not been the better team. But Sands on the left-hand side, lovely cross, but there's not anyone there ready to get on the end of it. So it probably wasn't that lovely a cross after. It looked nice. It was a big, the keeper had to stretch for it. If we'd have had a player competing with him, it could have caused issues. I am glancing down at the bench, wondering what we can do to change things up, just to try and grab a winner. We have got Grassi on the bench, but last time we brought him on, it led to disaster. I mean, he is a player who is a game changer. We've never really had a plan B on the bench before, but he's a lightning quick winger who's still only 21. He is the sort of player who, in these situations, there's a very strong argument for bringing him on. I might even bring him on there and do that. I don't know if that works. It probably doesn't. We're about to find out, I guess. Ollie Steer can come on for... In fact, forget Ollie Steer. Let's have a look at Emilio, the other new striker we brought in, who also wants to be a deep lying forward, just like Presedo does. But let's have a look at him, because we want to see the new boys. Let's see if Grassi and Emilio can come on and change the game, where Curti and Kano couldn't. And Adrio can now come off. Ollie Steer can come on for Adrio. And should we have 10 minutes of passion to finish the match off? All eyes on Grassi. Oh, they've got a free kick through Mbappe. It hits the frame of the goal and we get it clear. And I think we're holding on here. This is another good performance against Manchester City. They just can't beat us. They're going to score now, aren't they? But we do traditionally do well against Manchester City. And this is the kind of performance where we can build a season off of this performance. We didn't concede against Manchester City, and that's a good thing. And hopefully we can build on that and win a few football matches now. We want to be back in Europe again next year. It seemed to be over so quickly this season. Right, we will be back tomorrow. We're going to play a few games now after all this transfer nonsense. We're going to be somewhere around here. Wolves and Preston probably looks fine. So we'll be back with that tomorrow at 4 p.m. If you have enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.